you, my heart starts racing, but I don't know if I like this chasing and playing and waiting around. It's a shame that my hands start shaking all of the time when you're around me. But this time, girl, I know what's bothering me. I need somebody to love.
Today is August 28th, 2020, Friday of the 21st week in Ordinary Time, and you are tuned in to Deacons Discussions and Drinks.
I don't know what I could say to convince you to hang around when you don't have to. There's so much that I'm still keeping to myself, 'cause you don't listen, babe. But still you got me missing you. When I see you, my heart starts racing, but I don't know if I like this chasing and playing and waiting around. It's a shame that my hands start shaking all of the time when you're around me. But this time, girl, I know what's bothering me. I need somebody to love. Oh, nah, 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 nah. Don't you see what's
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Deacons Discussions and Drinks. I'm Deacon Tim Stout.
I'm Deacon Dallas Kelly.
And we would say I'm Father Lynn, but
I think he called in sick to play some golf.
he's missing in action. So,
And you would have had to have been at Mass Sunday to get what I just said.
so the empty
Was y'all at Mass?
Yeah, no, I heard
Listed to it.
I heard your homily. That was funny.
missing in action. So he's on his way, we think, right?
That's what he said.
Hey, we're not in the studio tonight. We're live at Galvin's on Main Street, Georgetown, Kentucky, and it's kind of a different show for us. The atmosphere is different. There's real people in here, which is kind of scary for me anyway. But a special show tonight because we've got two special guests with us, Dwayne and Chrissy Ellison, who are with us tonight. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Hey, we're glad you're here. Typically, we would do all kinds of different stuff to start things off, but we're in a delay mode just so we can try to give Father Lynn just a couple of minutes. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and introduce you real simply, okay? And then I'm going to let y'all introduce yourselves. But, I mean, you guys are both parishioners at St. Francis and John. You're both coaches, right? You coach my daughter. You coach football. You're both educators, parents, members of the community, founders of the foundation, Finley Foundation. But most importantly tonight, you're Finley's mommy and daddy, right? So welcome to the show. We're glad you're here, and we're excited to talk about everything Finley and wherever else the conversation takes us tonight. So that was my introduction.
That's a good one.
Who wants to go first?
We'll let her talk first. She's always better, actually.
So it's 2020, so we've lived in Georgetown, Kentucky for 20 years, actually. Dwayne moved here first, and then I followed suit, and we got married and settled here, and we're educators in the community. And for a long time, did not kind of attend church, just kind of wavered around, and then we started going to St. John's, and that became, obviously something that was important in our lives, and really important to me. I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky, and so was born and raised Catholic. And Dwayne,
Majority people here, Louisville, Kentucky. Yeah, Louisville.
What part?
near St. Pius, the church, near Seneca High School off Bardstown Road. So it was important to me, and Dwayne supported me in that. And for a long time, stood by my side, went to church with me, but then and I'll get to that part later, but then became a Catholic later in life. So that's been wonderful for us and for our family.
Yeah, I grew up Baptist.
Yes.
Oh,
I grew up in
Chrissy's Cradle Catholic then.
Yes.
Cradle Catholic convert.
A lot convert, yeah. A lot later, yeah.
I have a daughter. We have daughter. He does too. Have a daughter. She's 15 years old. She'll be a freshman at Great Crossing High School. She's playing volleyball tonight. Getting pictures tonight there. And we have a son, another son, Charlie Ellison, and he is 11, and he's here, and he'll be a sixth grader at Royal Spring Middle School. And I laugh when I say volleyball because I did coach volleyball prior to having children, and got to coach Deacon Stout's wonderful daughter, Katie Stout, who's not Katie Stout anymore, but Katie Susie.
Katie Susie's in the house tonight too.
In
Yeah.
the house.
Loved her family, such supportive people, and so I'm rambling on, but then in 2013, actually in 2012, Dwayne and I had gone on a trip together, just the two of us, just kind of after we had kids, we were going, by ourselves, and we were in New York City and found out that we were pregnant and going to have a third child, and it was unexpected, and of course, we were like, what's going on, and ended up bringing him into the world in 2013, January 2013. He lived for 3.5 months. Prior to his arrival, I was nervous and didn't know what to expect with the 3 children. How was I going to do this? We're very busy, educators, living lives, hustle and bustle. He came into the world, and as you know, blessings just change your whole way of thinking. He was wonderful. He lived for 3.5 months and unfortunately passed on May 14th, 2013 at our babysitter's house. And after that moment, we together have worked hard to keep his memory alive and to do good work for SIDS awareness is what he's passed away from. So, sorry, that was long-winded.
That was a pretty
That
good.
was beautiful.
That was a good.
You're not going to be able to top that.
I can't. I never can. I'm the emotional guy. I always choke up.
And she came from Louisville. Where was you coming
I'm
from?
from Fleming County, Kentucky, northeastern county in the state, kind of between, most people don't know, it's between Maysville, Moorhead area is kind of where if you look at that direction. So very small, rural area. But we both went to Campbellsville University to play sports and get our degrees there. She played volleyball, I played football.
So you met there.
Met
Yes.
there with friends for a long time.
Where did you all meet at?
What bar was it? Not a lot of bars there, but we found places to drink all the time and have a good time. So a lot of sports activities there. A lot of.
So you knew you were going to be a good Catholic, right?
Oh yeah.
With all the drinking.
I don't know what this Baptist thing. I don't know how I was kind of a fake
Easy,
Baptist, a real.
easy. You're in the middle of Baptist country.
But no, so we met in Campbellsville and eventually got. I moved here in '99 with coaching. I had been in Greene County and Meade County for a stint or two with coaching and teaching, and came here to coach in '99. And it fit perfectly for our families between an hour each way, so they're close enough and far enough away at the same time.
So were you coaching high school ball at that time or
I was
college?
coaching high school.
Oh, okay.
Coached high school coming out of college. Did at Greene County and then Meade County with Coach French. Had great experiences. Coach McKee and another friend of mine contacted me about an opening position here. So I moved to Georgetown for a year, and then Chrissy and I got married the year after that, and moved, all the way in, and we've dived in ever since in the community, and just really love this community and taught, coached. I was a principal for a while, and track coach for a while. And then in 2004, I started coaching with Georgetown College football, and then just kind of worked my way up. I'm a director now with Scott County Schools, so I do a lot of the operational stuff with Scott County Schools. And Chrissy's now, done elementary teaching for a long time, for almost 20 years, and then now she's teaching middle school kids and gifted. And so we've been around a lot of kids and a lot of families our whole time here, and trying to give back, I always say, especially with teaching and coaching, because that's where I always was gifted by great coaches, great teachers, kind of lifting me up for my situation. So that's kind of where we hang our hat. And then, like Chrissy said, in 2013, we were on that trip in New York, and she kept telling me that something's wrong, and we're in the middle of New York City having a great time. We got Yankees tickets and all kinds of stuff, and I'm a big Yankees fan, and she wants to go have a pregnancy test. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
So
we got to go find some CVS in the middle of somewhere.
It cut the bar hopping down.
Oh,
For me,
I was like,
certainly.
for her, I was like, hey, I got a driver now. Let's go. But it was pretty tough to deal with at the time, because we weren't supposed to. By the doctors, that told us after, especially Riley, that they didn't expect. They thought Riley was our miracle baby, that we shouldn't have even been able to have Riley. and then we had a really, really tough time having Charlie, and had to have a lot of doctor's visits and a lot of procedures and whatnot, and then to turn around and think, they told us, literally the doctor said there is no way you're going to have another child naturally, and that crushed us for a while after Riley. I was really, really depressed, and I kept thinking, I was like, why am I so, I literally, we'd be on a bus ride to a ball game, and I'm just like depressed because some doctor had told me we couldn't have another child after Riley, and then to find out all of a sudden we're pregnant when we weren't supposed to be and weren't even trying to be with Finley. So it was a really big shock, but I was all in. We named him Finley after my head football coach at Campbellsville. Sorry, I get Georgetown mixed up sometimes. But a guy that really, he was a big Baptist guy and preached to us all the time and was very important to me growing up as a man. And so we named him after a guy who taught us more about life than it was about football a lot of times. So that was very important to me, and Chrissy was okay with the name because she had a friend that also was looking at a girl named Finley. So I was able to sneak that name in there as something important to me at the same time. So, but unfortunately he passed away after that. We kind of struggled there from May 2013 through that summer. We had a lot of trips already planned, and the family, vacations, Disney, and all these things. We're going to take all three of them, and and we decided we're still going to do this with our other two and try to do those things, and we did. And along the way, our neighbors, Samantha and Stacy, I guess saw us kind of going through that, saw us cleaning out the bedroom and taking all those things out of that were Finley's and packing those things up, and came into our kitchen one day and said, we're going to do a 5K this fall. We're going to throw it together. We're going to make it happen. We don't want you to do anything, but we want you to have something that, is for Finley. And I remember them saying, if we have 100 people, oh well, and we were all like, yeah, that's a great idea, and I've been to a bunch of 5Ks, and typically you'd have 100 or so people, and no big deal. And we show up on that date, and there's 1,000 people there. It's just crazy. And then after that year, we kind of this is something that people really got behind, that people want to do again, and people enjoy, and people feel like there's a need, and we need to carry this torch, because I've said it over and over again, there's not very many people that lose a child that all of a sudden can stand up, that are able to stand up and do something positive with it. A lot of families really struggle. A lot of families are in situations where they don't have the platform, and we felt like we needed to do this not just for Finley but for others. We needed to create something that other SIDS families could be a part of, that we could also support all those SIDS families that never have a shot, it's their first child. They're 20 years old. They don't even have jobs. How are they going to put something together? And it's just kind of grown from that. We took over, not necessarily took over. We still work with Samantha and Stacy a ton, but it's basically the four of us that do 90% of the work, and try to put on a nice event, not just for us, but for everybody that we can include, and try to incorporate Georgetown, Scott County, Central Kentucky, and all the SIDS victims that we can possibly, incorporate into the process, and try to have a great event and take time to really think about the issue and what we need to do about it. So that's a lot of talking.
I think he did more than you, Chris.
He's good about that.
That's all right. He's passionate about it. There's passion there.
Yes.
So, hey, Father Lynn joined us. Hey, Father Lynn.
Hey.
Hey, you're fine.
You're supposed to. Somebody said, "Hey, I'm Father Lynn."
I'm Father Lynn.
Oh, there you go. So I was gonna say, I had all kinds of questions, but you guys have answered a lot of those questions already. But the Finley 5K is obviously the biggest fundraiser. Probably not the only fundraiser that you have, but it's the biggest fundraiser.
Right.
So this is the 6th year.
No,
right.
Actually, it's the
Eighth.
Eighth year.
because that year, I mean, we had one before he even would have turned one. So a lot of times that 1 year kind of gets people think 7 years.
So he would have been 7 this
He
year.
would have been 7 years old right now. So he would have been started virtual school
virtual like everybody else, trying to figure it out.
It's Google Classroom.
He would have been tearing up some computer somewhere.
If you can find one.
Right.
So you got the Finley 5K. This year is going to be significantly different, virtual. How many participants did you have last year? Just roughly.
1,500. Last year was our biggest year. Just a little bit over 1,500 participants. Dozens of sponsors. So last year was our biggest overall event. Okay.
Pull that just a little bit closer.
bit closer.
Just a.
Am I light?
You can move this like this too. I want you to be comfortable. You can
Right
pull it
up to
into
you.
you. Yeah, we like to say. I tell
gotta
these
kiss
these
the
guys have a problem. Kiss the mic, right? Kiss the mic. So, 1,500 last year. Not going to be 1,500 this year, probably
No.
virtually.
No way. We hope to get 750.
I mean, how does that virtual work? How is it going to work?
You want to take over? I've talked to him.
No, you actually know how that's going to work better.
So virtually will work pretty much up to the day of the race, almost identical to what we normally do. We'll do a lot of the same things we've always tried to do as far as sponsorships and getting things for the people that are going to take part of the event. There's a little bit more mailing situation now where people aren't necessarily going to come. We are going to have a packet pickup like we always do, which is usually really light because we do big teams. And usually one person can come pick up 100 people's packets. So our packet pickup has never been a big event where we have to worry about the numbers of COVID and those issues. So we'll still have that at Oser's Landing. Appreciate our Oser's group over here.
I muted myself so we didn't get feedback. Larry and Donna Oser in the house tonight. Yes.
That's right. And so they're going to help us, and we're going to have packet pickup there. There's 2 or 3 actual sponsors right there in that area anyway that use those buildings, so that's going to be great. And so we'll have packet pickup there like we normally do, and so people will come and get their stuff. They'll get their great Finley shirt. They'll get their medal and all those things prior to. We won't be handing the medal out as you pass through the finish line like normal. You'll get it with your packet.
You're going to assume that everybody's going to finish.
We're going to assume. We're going to give them, even if it's walking or crawling, whatever it is, we're going to assume that you'll get your 3.1 in. And then when it comes to the actual day of the race, and a few days, it doesn't necessarily have to be on the 19th of September, but sometime in that window, we're asking people to run their race, wherever that may be, whether it's flat, hilly. If they're out at Mallard Point, that's going to be a little tougher. If they're, just running around the track, that's going to be a little easier. So just run it, maybe take some pictures. They can upload their time, if they want to keep their time and upload that. Some people won't want to upload their times, and that's fine too. I wouldn't either.
I understand that.
Yeah, but so the system will be able to incorporate that. When you sign up, then you can go back and punch in your time, and so we'll still have that. We won't do a winner or loser type of stuff. There won't be an overall champion of the race this year because I don't want anybody complaining about, well, this person had that type of a route and versus this person had that type of a route.
You think that would happen in today's age?
It would. and it could easily be some 75-year-old man griping at me about beating an 80-year-old man on his time and his age group.
His age group,
They're
yeah.
just as competitive as the 20-year-olds. So that's always kind of fun. And we're still doing teams. That's one of our biggest things. We have team events. So, like LME, Lemons Mill Elementary versus.
Actually, ECS is.
ECS is going for
Kim
it.
Kyle.
Kim
Our
Kyle's
friend
really
Kim Kyle.
carrying it this year. Team Lucas, though, you can never count out Team Lucas, who is
Yeah.
a parishioner here.
Parishioner, yeah.
With
Blankenship,
St. John's,
yeah.
the Blankenships. They won it last year, so they get the big WWE belt.
I think I
And-
saw that on Facebook this week, right?
Yeah.
With
Macho Man.
With Randy Macho Man Savage.
Charlie's got a little bit to go before he gets to that size.
He's
so
not Macho Man yet.
We got to worry about Stick Boy. I don't know where he went, but
He's picking up ladies in
he's
the
picking up some ladies
front
in the
of
bar. So, Christy and I will do. We're going to try. We've offered to our sponsors that do some sort of little commercial 30-second to a minute commercial. We'll play it on the day of the race. We've offered to SIDS victims, do something about your SIDS child, whether it's some sort of commercial or just a story about your story, and share that with us. And we're going to share that on the day, trying to incorporate all the people that, like the Blankenships and the Murrays. And
we wanted to have a
Harrises.
quality race, whether it be, that's been always the thing, is like, we could have 1,500 people, we could have 500, but I always wanted a quality race because that's what's going to bring people back, and that's
Right.
what people are going to remember. So whether it's virtual or it's real, I wanted it to be a quality event. So Dwayne and I had this brainstorm of let's honor our SIDS victims, our families that have lost a child, and now we can honor more than just one. We usually just honor one, but we can honor more than one, and then we can also honor all those sponsors. It's amazing how many people come out and sponsor this race for us, and that's what's helped us, and that's what's helped us keep going. So
Yeah, we're blown away all the time. Just people just write checks and give it to me like, well, what can we do to try to help? And they're like, we don't want anything. We're just trying to help you. I'm like, no, what can we do to help you? And it's just like, it's almost frustrating. You're like, you want to we don't want to be a handout. We want to be a partner. And we want to put on a great event so that people want to come back every year.
You are a 501c3, right?
Yes.
So, that's...
I know, but, I don't want to be just a tax write-off either. I want to be a partner.
But I think that's one of the things in this community. I don't think it'll ever be looked at as just a charity. Right?
No.
It's people can relate to the story. You guys are an integral part of the community, and as educators, you've touched so many lives that it's not just another story, right? It's just not another statistic. It means something to this community. And I think for those of us that have known you guys for a while, we all can relate to that story, and we all feel a part of it because we were with you at the time, in different ways and fashion. So in this community, I think has really embraced you guys, and it's been kind of, I would say, just listening to y'all talk, it's kind of therapeutic in a way. Yes.
very.
It is. Yeah, it is. It's
Sometimes
emotional.
it's a chore, and I hate to say that. Sometimes it's like, we've been doing this for 7 years, and we have day jobs. We have children that we take to practice, and and sometimes we do get run down with it, but we know that we're giving this time to our son, who's no longer with us, and we're giving this time to people that also have lost a loved one. And so I think that motivates us. Another motivator has been that we have been able to take what we've profited off the race and give it to research. And hopefully one day that will be something that we won't have to talk about SIDS anymore, that it will be something that they have found a cure or a reason or a way to stop it, and somehow. So we feel motivated by those things to continue on. But I won't lie to you and say that it's always easy, because it's not always easy. It's like at the end of the day, you're still working on things. You're still, I'm still writing thank you notes, or he's still posting on Facebook, or he's still making sure this check is where it's supposed to be. Those are.
It keeps you occupied.
Yeah, it does.
It does.
It does.
This year especially was the year it was like, do we just, pass on to next year, and take the year off with COVID, and there was a lot of prayer, a lot of debate, I went back and forth 3,000 or 4,000 times, it seems like, do we do it this way? Do we do it that way? And I lean in a little bit too many times. Sometimes I kind of, will lean in with my chin and get knocked down sometimes about taking things on, and I just could not do something, because anytime we are not doing something, it's not getting done. Mm-hmm. If we're not doing it, there's a really good chance that nobody in the state of Kentucky is doing it for SIDS, and that's just the way it is. There's,
So talk a little bit about that. I know, and you guys can jump in anytime you want to cut me off, but I got some good questions here.
I do have a question.
Oh,
Yeah.
Kiss the mic.
What is SID?
Okay, great.
Have you all talked about that?
No, that's good.
And that's good for a lot of people. SIDS means, SIDS, means they don't know what they're talking about. It's sudden infant death syndrome, and they don't know. The baby went to bed in a safe location, safe, normal environment. The baby didn't have any type of pre-existing condition. and he went to sleep, and he didn't rescue breathe for whatever reason. A lot of people get confused and feel like SIDS is and it is sleep related. A lot of times, especially back before the sleep awareness program started in the late 80s, early 90s, a lot of people just did whatever grandma told them to do when it came to putting your baby to sleep, whether it's putting on, your stomach or putting on your back or putting on your side or, 20,000 things in the bed, co-sleeping, all those different things. Doctors and researchers have come on board over the last 20 years or so, and the numbers got better. It went from, over 5,000 infants dying each year to, typically around 3,000 to 3,500. So a lot of people immediately assumed, well, this is a bad parenting or a bad choice, accidental death type thing, more than it is a issue with the body of the infant. And when you go back and look at it, though, over 20 years, yes, it came down, but it has flatlined for 20 years, where you're still having 2,500 to 3,500 infants dying each year, and you're having infants putting situations where it looks like, based on the investigation, a coroner investigated and whatnot, and that's kind of a pretty good trial for some families of going through this investigation. And they rule out that there's any wrongdoing by the parent, and then it gets labeled as SIDS. I don't know that all of them are like that, and we worked with this past spring and summer with our state legislature, Damon Thayer, Max Wise, and Philip Pratt, and we were able to, one other issue is there is no research on this except from infants in California, because, well, I can't remember if it's the 50s or 60s, but back in California in the 50s and 60s, a group of parents got together and had a law presented to where any sleep-related death, that investigation happened, and that information got shared with people that were researching. No other states had that. In the state of Kentucky, there was no law that prohibited the sharing of information, but since it didn't spell it out and say that they could, the coroners wouldn't do that. The medical examiner would not share information with researchers. So we just jumped in there with Max and Damon and those guys and Philip, and we were able to change that wording of Senate Bill 237 to where now the state of Kentucky is sharing information on the autopsy that's already happening. Nothing new is happening. And that was something that we went through that was kind of, a very tough thing to do, is sit after the end, when you're at the hospital and you have to talk to the coroner and they have to ask you these questions, do you want to donate organs? Do you want to do this, do that? And that was one of the toughest things I think we had to sit through. Now, hopefully, one of those questions from our coroner is, do you want to share information from the autopsy with researchers? And hopefully we get to the question of what is really SIDS.
We did travel to Boston. We were able to travel to Boston about 3 years ago, and they laid all of the research out for us, and they put it in layman's terms because obviously we needed that.
We couldn't figure out what
But there is research to suggest that there are reasons why an infant doesn't take a rescue breath, or why it just passes instead of, awakening and taking those breaths. And it has to do with the hypothalamus in the brain, and it has to do with some serotonin levels. And so, but they're saying, we are only able to look at infants from California because those are the only tissue samples that we can study, because we don't get any other tissue samples from around all over the United States. If we were able to have a broad range of tissue samples, we might be able to say, yes, in all of this research with all of these infants, yes, this is a reason why they don't take a rescue breath, or that they end up falling asleep and they don't wake up, or whatever. Because, like Dwayne was saying, infants are passing away without any of the blankets over their heads or in hot environments.
Which is different than what was previously initially thought.
Exactly. Yeah.
They would say if you did all of those right steps, then your child wouldn't die of SIDS because you've done all these things. But doing all of those things, infants are still dying, like he said. And so we're saying, okay, now where? So let's go back and find out why they are still passing, even though we're following all these safe sleep. Not to say that safe sleep isn't important, and we do believe that as well.
Sure, right.
That's not really our central focus with our foundation. there's other foundations out there that is their central focus, and we partner with them as well.
So yours is research.
Research, awareness, because what I will say is when I had Finley, I knew SIDS was out there. I'd heard about it. I knew it was out there, but I did not think in the million years that it was going to happen to me. And I want people to know, hey, it's out there. And you have to know that this is a real thing, and this really could happen to you. So please follow safe sleep practices, just to eliminate that cause, and to know that it could happen to you. You know, so awareness, research, and then my biggest platform is giving families that don't have a platform to honor their child a platform to honor their child, because there are many families that we have found that grieve privately. They want to share information about who they had and they loved for 3.5 months or however long, but they don't have a way to do that. And so our race has brought out people that, you know, from all over that said, you know, that wear a shirt or that come up to us and say, I had a niece, her name was Aubrey, and she lived and she was loved and she's no longer with us. And I don't have anywhere else to say, you know, because you don't walk up to anyone and say, oh, I had a child and they passed away, because it's a completely awkward situation. But it gives those people avenues to honor their loved one freely and in a place that, you know, is obviously accepting of that.
And that's for this year for the virtual 5K. That opens the door even more for people to tell that story as well, right?
We hope, yeah.
Yeah.
We hope. That's what we want, you know, and it's still hard for those families to do that.
To tell their story.
To tell their story. It's an emotional, gut-wrenching thing to get in front of people and tell the story of your child dying, and what that means to you, and all those things. So it's very uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable when people ask you, how many children do you have?
Yeah.
You know, a simple question, you know, that we ask each other all the time.
Sure.
And we debate all the time, like, what's our answer? You know, do we make it awkward, or do we say the truth? You know, do I say, hey, I've got 3, I've got 2 alive and one was died, or do I just say I've got 2 now? Or, you know, so there's a lot of emotion, a lot of awkwardness that people deal with after losing a child. You know, so yeah, they agree. Yeah.
So with the SID situation around community, there's no support system at all? Or?
No. Well, there's a couple of groups out there, some online things. That's what we noticed. You know, I remember, you know, the night Finley died, and I'm, you know, just it's 2:00 in the morning. I'm trying to, you know, just Google and see, you know, what's out there. There was like two places, 2 online type of things. And it was very, you know, just. And it was just nothing, and I was just like, you know, why is this? You know, why is that all we have?
And I feel like people rally around you, especially when it first happens, but then it starts to trickle away.
Yeah.
And you may still be grieving, especially those families, and they're kind of like,
hey, we did a race, you're
fortunate.
okay now.
Yeah,
you
we
know?
were so fortunate.
You're fixed.
You're fixed.
All right.
It's been time.
You raised the
time to
money,
grieve.
you donated it, so everything's fine. You move on with your life. Is kind of a lot of people, and that's on the good end. That's with the community rallying around you like we have, and a lot of people don't have that. So we're very blessed compared to a lot of folks that go through this. They don't have anybody, you know, and we've been very, very supported. And we go to Boston, and, you know, it's almost comical. We go into the research organization of the world when it comes to SIDS. These great people are awesome. They're great. It's Harvard type of people. It's the best of the best at Boston Children's, and it's an old dorm that they've turned into, you know, and it's like 5 to 10 people.
And that's it.
That's it. That's who's trying to save 3,000 infants every year.
Why do you think that is? Why?
Because there's no money in it. Mm-mm. There's no money in it. There's
so it's
no
not
pill.
like
no
cancer
pill.
where you can create a drug or a treatment
no
or a therapeutic or whatever.
It's one of the least federally funded research groups out there. You know, it's so hard. You know, and and there's so much debate on. You know, it's the mass debate of it's, you know, because is it parent related, or is it true science? Is it?
Well, I never even would have thought about the lack of is because of no money, because like you said, no drug. if you come up with a way to change, like turn it on its side, well, you don't get any money for that, right?
Right.
Wow, I never really thought about that.
I mean, there could be, if we ever figure out what the actual event is happening.
because by the time you find out, it's too late, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and that's the thing, the research is so hard because you're trying to deal with something after the fact. It's not like you have a cancer patient to study while they're a victim, and where SIDS, it's after the fact, and we all know that it's different after the fact. When a child has died, it's a different animal when it comes to trying to research. Now, so cancer and SIDS research are just totally different issues.
So genetics not in play, or is
no,
it play?
I think it is.
Could be, yeah.
They've linked it to seizures and epilepsy.
There's all kinds of brain things that they've looked at. It's not, nobody has pointed us in a direction to where it has anything below the neck. Everything below the neck, usually you can kind of, that's kind of a pre-existing type of issue, and you can kind of catch that on the normal day-to-day doctor's visits and checkups and things like that. You catch those heart defects. You catch those lung issues.
We're not doing CT scans on our kids.
It's something to do with the brain somehow, somewhere, whether it's seizure-related, whether it's serotonin, the hypothalamus development, somewhere in there where a child does not fight for that breath and fight to turn over or fight to push away. Why does one kid who is put in a bad situation push away and the other kid not?
So we need money. That's the bottom line. We need money, and that's why we're here tonight, really, right?
But to raise awareness is very important too.
Well, to have this conversation is huge.
And definitely need a lot more information to help research. you
Right.
know. Just like what you said.
Because people won't
Only in state
people won't pay
California
for what they
does
don't understand.
Right.
People won't pay for what they don't understand.
Right.
And so it goes hand in hand. It really does. And so we try to do both as much as we humanly can, without trying to be too technical. Because we don't understand the technical.
And we
part.
also partner with Georgetown Pediatrics. I don't know if you all probably know this, but we provide through Charlie's Kids Foundation a safe sleep book. And we actually put our information on there. And Georgetown Pediatrics has been great about giving a package to new parents. We had talked about doing it in the hospital, but once you have a baby and you're in the hospital, I mean, there's just so many things that nurses and doctors give you, and you're just overwhelmed. But once you come home, you have that baby, you go back to the doctor. The doctor's, handing you some information that, hey, this is SIDS. This can happen. Here's some ways to, a way to prevent it.
So that's the awareness part of it.
Yes.
That's one big thing. We go through a lot of books. I bet we give out, free to whoever gets them. Probably between 700 and 1,000 books a year here in Georgetown. Just little books you read with your child, while you're doing your nightly thing. And I don't know how many. We've gotten a flood of people saying, "Hey, I got this book today," and we appreciate it. We saw your name on it, and I don't know how many of them actually use it, but most of them have read it through at least once. I don't know that they use it every night with their kids and stuff like that. So, but at least they've had a chance to check it out.
Absolutely. So, people want to register. What do they got to do?
They go to finley105.org. Which is our website, and you can register, you can donate, you can do everything from that website. If you click on the registration part of it, it takes you to run Signup, where you can register or donate there. If you want to just donate, you can do it right there from the website through the PayPal, where it says donate. There's some information there, our stories there. Again, we had some interviews and got videoed and that way. So if you want to read the story about Finley, if you want to read the story or listen to us in that interview, it's all right there on that website.
And if you don't live in Georgetown and can't come to packet pickup, we will mail your medal and your wonderful T-shirt.
Don't let that stop you.
Yeah, don't
That's
let
right.
that stop you.
We'll mail it.
We will mail it.
UPS is working with us. It was actually.
So in other words, this year, if I decide not to run, I still get a medal.
You still get a medal. Yes. You still get it. You can finally win.
It'll be your first medal ever,
I
Father
got first
Lynn.
medal.
Your first 5K, Father. It's virtually happened in your mind.
You can drink a beer the whole time.
I calculate how a beer
Right.
amounts, right?
Right.
There is a race like
Get
that.
that.
He'll come in first in the priest category.
Right.
How many Catholic churches are there in Scott County? One.
Two
Winner,
churches.
winner.
One.
2 for 1.
2 for 1.
So we got a virtual race this year going on in the middle of COVID. How has COVID affected your all's daily lives this year outside of the foundation? No effect, right? No effects?
No, everybody's
Yeah.
normal, right?
What is normal?
Very difficult. Very difficult. As a teacher, and I've not been at work since March 13th. I mean, I've been at work, but not teaching students since March 13th. And it's amazing. Everybody's like, oh, I can't wait for spring break. I can't wait for summer break. And then when you have this huge, massive break from what you love doing, you miss it, and you're sad. And you're sad that, you love the work that you do, and you're passionate about the work that you do. And we were thinking we were going back to school on August 26th, and then that was pushed back, of course, with the governor's recommendation. And that was heartbreaking for lots of us as teachers, and I know a lot for my own children. And so I understand.
The kids miss it.
I know. That's what we said.
Who'd ever thought that we'd be sitting here talking about kids missing?
Wanting to go to school.
Wanting to go to school.
They do. My children want to go back to school, and I know my children aren't the only ones that want to go back to school. So, and it makes you grateful for the things that you had. I think that's one thing about COVID, that it makes you grateful for the things that you took for granted that you don't have anymore.
Like Chrissy's first time out into a restaurant
It's
since
tonight.
March. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brought you probably closer together as a family, yes?
It did.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
And my daughter, we spent a lot of quality time together. You're with your family for so many months, and you get to spend quality time with them.
But that gets old after a
It
while,
does.
too.
Well, they get tired of us. It's not necessarily we get tired of them. So, my job, with the school system and coaching and everything. So, it's affected everything we do. I mean, even, just hurry up and wait.
The facility's got to be in good shape, right?
You got to have everything ordered, and if you can get it, whether or not, we're going to need
Spa chain.
1,000 hand sanitizer bottles. I got 1,000 classrooms or so that I got to make sure that we have, cleaning kits, sanitizing kits. We got to have a plan before and after, all through the day. Everything's got to be, mapped out, planned out. And then you got to assume that somebody's going to screw it up, so you better have a backup plan. And then you got to assume that no matter what you do, that you're still going to have COVID-related issues, just because of the beast that you're dealing with. And so how do we handle that situation when that happens? So, which is normal for us in operations type guys. And I feel like we have a good team over at Scott County Schools. And I love trying to do those things. I love, I want to lean in and let's find a way to make this work. But we got to do it safely. I've always, even with SIDS or COVID or whatever, I feel like, you can't be extreme one way or the other. You really can't. You've got to understand both sides of the argument, because there's anxiety on both sides.
Sure.
People that know us sometimes don't want to go to sleep at night if they have an infant. My niece had a baby, and I'm sure she was scared to death, after seeing what happened with us. So, but we tell everybody, safely move forward. Do everything you possibly can, but you have to move forward. And I hope eventually that we get that way with schools, that we do everything we humanly can to make it safe, but we have to move forward. And that's kind of
we still have to live our lives, right?
We do.
You have to have faith. And you do. And going back to SIDS and what happened, you had to lean on. I had to lean on my faith, huge. And in this situation, I think you have to lean on your faith in a huge way as well.
And it's hard to do. So can't go to church all the time like we used to, can we?
Yeah.
We still do.
Sunday.
We haven't missed the mass yet.
I laugh at her. We were walking while she was listening to it Sunday. We were listening to the live feed, and she's singing along with it, and I'm listening to something else too at the same time. And I was just laughing. I was like, I'm just glad we're not in church where they can hear you sing.
I missed that part of it. I said that last week. It's the biggest change for us is we can't hear people, just like these people
Right.
around here can't hear us tonight. We can't hear people when
Yeah.
we're up at
Really?
Cardam. So those responses and stuff. Hey, we got any questions tonight?
No, we got a couple of comments I wanted to
This is the live aspect of it.
Oh, okay.
We would normally take phone calls, but we've taken that plug out tonight. So if you're thinking you're gonna get a call in tonight, you're not gonna call in tonight. I wouldn't do that to you all either. Somebody might call in and say something crazy or something. So, but
No,
anyway,
they wouldn't do that.
They wanted to thank you, too, for all you do to let us honor our babies through your cause.
Very welcome.
Very.
And another one said the church should consider putting an info sheet in baptismal packets for the infants that you baptize.
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Not a bad idea.
That's a good idea.
I can give those books.
We know where to put them.
Yeah.
We're some baptizing machines
Is that
over
right?
here.
Is that right? Spray some water, right?
Father Lynn wiped the oil all over Charlie's head.
It took like a week.
It took he's stuck.
The
After
oil.
his baptism.
Yeah.
He's,
Charlie still stinks of it.
He's world renowned for that.
I think we're probably the only church in the diocese that has to go back and get a second thing of chrism oil.
We go through five gallons of chrism oil.
I love it. He rubs it in there. I'm just laughing every time he's doing
Because
some
we know.
shit. Yeah.
Where did you come into the church at?
I came in after Finley.
So you came in through St. John's then, at St. John's?
Yeah, I came through St. John's.
So I didn't think he would ever convert, but I was just glad that he supported me.
It's like I don't need to do that. I was like, I got baptized when I was growing up as a Baptist, and I was like, why would I convert? And the only reason I would do it would be for her, and that's not the right reason to do it.
Exactly.
And
It is.
Yeah. Well, I'm
know?
glad to hear you say that.
Yeah.
I mean, because some people, that's the reason they do it.
I wasn't going to do it just because it was the kind of the easy thing to do. I was just like, I need to do it for the right reason. But I did kind of always feel a little left out at church. Like I was missing something or not being able to being involved. And too many times I involve myself where I shouldn't, as far as volunteering and stuff like that. But I kept feeling like I can't help because I'm not really Catholic, where I normally would just jump in all the time. And so I was always holding back. And after Finley died, I'm sitting there watching our kids. I'm sitting, all these wonderful people from our church trying to help us, and I can't help at church, or I can't be a part of the Knights of Columbus and all the wonderful things they do. And I made a decision that, for me to be who I want to be, it was time for me to convert and go through that process. And I came to Father Lynn and talked to him about it. And I actually really enjoyed, going through the classes and actually understanding more of the Catholic faith that I really didn't understand and learning.
You found out we didn't worship Mary like everybody told you.
Yeah, I mean, there was so much that I didn't know, even though I'd been coming to church pretty regularly, but I didn't really understand why we did what we did, and I still don't understand as good as probably maybe a cradle.
I don't know.
Catholic.
Yeah.
Converts are usually pretty much spot on.
And my wife's a convert, and she always says converts make the best Catholic.
There's a convert back there. He's a good Catholic too.
Yeah. So
Basically, people that grew up in our generation, we learned the faith by memorization, but we didn't really understand the faith behind the faith, the meaning behind the faith. We had nuns or somebody telling us what to do, and that's why we did it.
And we've talked about that, where I studied the Bible a lot and the stories in the Bible as a Baptist growing up as a kid, and I love all those stories. Sometimes Chrissy doesn't know those as well as I do, but I don't know why. I don't understand the Eucharist as much.
He
as
can't recite the prayers.
I don't. Yeah, the prayers
as
I'm
quickly
done.
as I can.
Well, we're gonna have to
I'm
work
like,
on
where's
that.
that sheet?
I know.
We need to work on that. You need a cheat sheet.
But we need to give them a Catholic pray for dummies.
Yeah, I do. I need a lot of things that end up with dummies on the end of it. So.
Hey, we do have a couple little things for you there. Father Dallas, one of y'all, come on, one of you. We'd like to give our guests rosaries. But these aren't just regular rosaries. These are what we call rugged rosaries.
Thank you.
Yours should be white, Chrissy, and
Okay.
make sure. Is yours white?
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be the last rosary you ever need. It's built strong.
It is.
So kind of keeping in the theme of what we do here, and faith is such an important part, obviously, of our lives. And one of the things that we want to do with this show is to have people tell their story about their faith, and obviously, your faith helped get you through, a hard time.
Yeah, and people, I hate to interrupt you.
That's all right.
I'm sorry, but people always ask me, how did you ever get through that? And I always say it was my faith. Because people are like, well, they want to blame God. They want to blame. I'm sure you've heard this, Father Lynn, a lot, and I say, no, I never blame God for this. I thank God for helping me get through it, because without Him and without prayer and the songs at church, I don't know that I would have gotten through it. So,
and that's where I struggled the most. Is I went back and forth on the blame, and I talked to Father Lynn about this a little bit. I got, and you see that in the world today. Anger's easy. When things go wrong, anger is easy. And I was quick to anger, and I really struggled with not blame. Why would you give me this third child that I wasn't even trying to have, and then take him away from me? So there was a lot of whys. But then followed right up with that, why are all these people being so wonderful to us at the same time? We had so many angels that filled in right in behind that, and it was like I never could stay angry. Because I had all these little angels sent to me all the time, trying to, kind of brush that off, and Father Lim's like, let it go. It's not God's issue. This is just beyond that type of situation, and but that your faith and understanding a bigger picture is what you always got to have in anything you're going to deal with not just our situation, but any situation, whether it's COVID or all the racial issues that we're dealing with, all these different things. It comes back to your faith and whether or not you're quick to anger, quick to love, or somewhere in between.
You got to find the face of God in everything that you do,
right?
And even includes when
sometimes
you've got
you don't want to see it.
No, and you're a lot of times we're carrying crosses, right? We've got burdens that we sometimes feel are insurmountable.
Right. I always wanted to blame myself. I tried to blame myself a lot of things. This is my fault because I wasn't good enough, or I didn't get there quick enough, and things like that. So.
It's all part of the process, the grieving, right?
Right.
Hey, by the way, you have a new donor, a SID survivor, actually.
Okay.
And she want to know more about 5K. Just text me.
Okay.
Wonderful.
That's awesome.
This is what he does in our shows right here. But he's actually going to get you all some money. He has yet to get us any money.
This important foundation.
I hear you.
Well, this is a cool thing. This is a really cool thing.
Yeah, this is an easy platform to talk.
This is an easy platform to talk to, and it's a good platform, and it's we need to have more of this.
No, well, we do. That's a great segue. You just actually gave me my intro for the next couple of weeks. So next week on this show, we're going to have Father Danny Taylor. I'm sure y'all have heard of Taylor-Made Farms, right?
Yeah.
He's the newest priest in the Diocese of Lexington, ordained in June. So he's got a great guy. Tune in to hear about him. He is an amazing young man. I think he's going to set the world on fire. You like him, don't you?
But he's been baptized, right?
He has been baptized. Have y'all heard that story this week?
Y'all know that story?
No.
Okay. I was going to get into the topics.
Okay, we'll do a current event, and you get to do it, Dallas. Go ahead.
Okay. There was a priest. Well, no. There was a person who thought he was a priest in the Diocese of Detroit. And the reason he wasn't a priest because he found out he was not validly baptized. So if you're not validly baptized, everything after that is
everything.
His confirmation didn't happen. His ordination didn't happen.
So the deacon was he baptized by a deacon or a priest?
Baptized by a deacon.
He used the wrong words.
The first word of the whole, you have to say, I baptize you in the name of the. He said we, and it made his baptism invalid. So then you've got his father had a recording and he was watching it.
Oh, goodness.
Of the baptism. That was when he was a little baby.
So does that?
But that causes a whole.
Yes, what you're thinking did happen.
Like weddings and whatever
Yes.
after that.
Well, wedding. Anybody he baptized as a priest is valid. Okay. Any Eucharist. Everybody for 5 years was receiving bread and wine. Then you get into confirmation. Every confirmation he did was invalid. Every confession he did was invalid. The marriages, there's still a discussion about that because deacons and priests can marry, but there is stipulation that somebody like out in the mountains who can't get a deacon priest, they're given a special thing to marry. They're saying, does he fall under that category? So there's a whole lot to still figure out.
Words matter, right?
Words matter. Rome is dispensed right now, so it should clean it up.
So, but now he's a priest. In 3 or 4 days, they did all that.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
So he wasn't even Catholic, basically.
So that's why Deacon Dallas wants to make sure that Father Danny Taylor is going to be on the show next week. And then in 2 weeks, we have, I want to make sure I get this right. Where's it at? Dr. Ryan Stanton. Did I say that right? He is an ER doctor. He has multiple Facebook pages. Works in NASCAR too, I think. Right, Steve? NASCAR.
Wow.
He's going to join us. Could probably talk about COVID stuff. He has some opinions on testing and different stuff, and he's a medical professional. So maybe we'll take his words for it. I don't know if he works for the CDC or not, but anyway, we always try to do a faith side. But you guys did a great job.
Thank you.
We appreciate y'all coming today.
Thank you all for inviting us.
We have the most viewing at one time since we've been doing this. So,
Bam.
Cool.
Thank you.
Hey, we do a little thing at the end. Y'all just get to listen. It's the saint of the day. Steve, you ready for that? Father, whose feast day is today?
The Hippo Meister.
That's right. Saint,
Augustine.
not Augustine. You go to St. Augustine. We have St. Augustine. So today, here is today's saint of the day.
This is Franciscan Media's Saint of the Day for August 28th. Today we celebrate St. Augustine of Hippo. Augustine is one of the most distinguished theologians in the history of the Church and is the patron saint of theologians. Born in modern-day Algeria in the middle of the 4th century, he was drawn to the life of the flesh as a young man. At age 17 or so, he took a concubine, then a common practice. Though he became a lawyer, Augustine preferred the world of ideas, especially theology and philosophy. He moved to Rome, where he taught rhetoric. After trying out a strict religious sect, he found himself captivated by the sermons of the local bishop, now known as St. Ambrose, and by the writings of St. Paul and St. Athanasius. By age 33, Augustine was a baptized Christian, and by 36, he was a priest. By 41, he'd become a bishop known for his special devotion to the poor. Augustine's most famous theological writing is his Confessions, which focuses in part on the nature of evil. The sinner turned saint, a doctor of the Church who today is still acclaimed by some and condemned by others, died in the year 430. There's more about the saints along with inspiration and Catholic resources at our website, saintoftheday.org. From Franciscan Media, this has been Saint of the Day.
Concubine.
See, that's what I don't know anything about as much, the saints.
Well, you should get his book,
You know,
Confessions,
yeah.
City of God.
The saints I don't know as well as the normal Bible stories or whatever. So the saints are something I struggle with the history of it. And I'm a history guy. I love history.
So what would you recommend?
A Man for All Seasons.
No, you want to
Great
know
movie.
more about saints. There is, they very heroic of the faith.
Right.
We all meant to become saints.
Right.
So when the church recognized, there's a chronically order how someone become a saint, recognized by the church, and oftentimes there's a lot of great story. We read about it. The life of the saint. There's a book. Let me find that for you.
Okay.
It's worth reading on that particular saint of that day. Part in your prayer, just open it and read it, and something crazy about them.
Yeah, and what we just played is available on the website, Franciscan Media, saintoftheday.org. It's a good way to kind of just check out things, what's going on in the calendar. But every day there's multiple saints every day, but they pick one of them.
Crazy thing. Just like you are, listen to your story and know your life and the way you do things. You're in the process of that saint making.
I don't know about that, but
Like I say, saint is not. Oftentimes we make saint as the people wear the halo. No, saint are sinful people.
He had
They
St.
focus-
Augustine had a concubine.
Oh yeah.
I
But
love.
they focus on God as the redemption.
yeah.
And that's what saint always people that
And his-
place sin before them all the time.
His mother was a saint too.
Saint Monica.
That was
they performed
yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
She prayed for him for 34 years for his conversion. That's
Yeah.
what she did.
Think about that.
He had an illegitimate child and gave it up, and then didn't even believe in God, and she prayed and prayed and prayed.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Everybody could be a saint. Just got to work at it. So, hey, I want to give a big thanks to Galvin's for letting us use this back
big
room.
time. This is
Yeah,
cool.
awesome venue. It's open like 2 weeks or a week before COVID. They got to use it for a week, and then it got shut down. So once this pandemic is over and the restrictions are lifted, come out and support Galvin's. They've been here for, I think, 12 years now. Pillar in the community, family-owned, great food, great atmosphere. And they got 40 beers on tap, I think. So, you know, as a Catholic, that's always a
You
good thing.
should have started with that.
Oh, 40 beers on tap. Let's get a sampler. So support the Finley Foundation, Finley105.org, 105.org. Sign up for the Finley 5K and race Father Lynn virtually. See who gets the better time.
I break all time.
He's a good
yeah.
pencil whipper. He plays
he's-
like golf, so he knows how to do
Father
pencil.
Lynn sets a world record in 5Ks. We'll have that story. That'll be like your fishing report. It'll be the race report, the Finley 5K race report by Father Lynn. I can see it now. So, hey, we appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. If you like what we do here, hit the like button on Facebook. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. If you're listening to us on a podcast, whatever you're listening to us on, Apple, Spotify, I think Amazon has it now. We'll be out there. Yeah, we're on all those. You guys will be on all that here in about 48 hours. So,
Cool.
And it'll be really good to hear. You can go back and listen to it. It'll be good. And you'll think, why did I say that? But hey, if you're listening to us on that, hit like on there, subscribe to those. It just helps us know that what we're doing is what we should be doing. So, and finally, hey, we're a ministry of the St. Francis and John Catholic Church, ssfj.org, ssfj.org. You can support all your ministries, and when you're not going to Mass, we still need your donations. So give virtually. Well, no, wait a minute. Give real through online. Yeah, we don't want your virtual money. We want your real money. So you can do that.
Pay the bills with that virtual stuff.
Yeah, you can do that, and you can do it one time, and it just happens from then until you stop it. So, and tell your friends. Hey, you ready to give a blessing?
Sure. May the peace of our Lord Jesus Christ be with everyone here.
And with your spirit.
And may Almighty God bless everyone, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Until next week, I'm Deacon Tim.
I'm Deacon Dallas.
Father Lynn.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Did you ever stop and think, why spend too much time just getting ready?